As I was a-walking one morning in May, I met with two children a-coming my way, and one was a little maid so pretty and fair, and the other a young boy with gold in his hair.
Often the wind blows here, sometimes the raging roar of that beast which gives Drago Hill its name, but other times it is the soft breath of heaven which blows more kindly, caressing the cheek as gentle as a kitten's paw. It is these times I mostly climb old Drago, for Drago is indeed ancient, many, many years older, even before the time of the long ago people, so Grandma would say, and she should know, for she could hear the voices of the children of the north wind in every shuddering tremble of storm-tossed branch and leaf and tearing gale whereon the witch king rides and wreaks his havoc. So she would say, and just as easily she would cock her ear and smile at the sweet soft melodies of the Fay folk as they danced at their moonlit trysts amongst the oak and thorn which embraced Drago's summit and enclosed a low ring of tumbled stones. Those stones are long gone, if they were ever there, for no other seems to have heard tell of them. Instead, there now stands a windmill. Grandma could just remember when it was new made and leaning its sails into the wind like any good workhorse to take advantage of whatever breeze there was to spin its sails in cheerful singing splendour. Oft-times she would sing, so she said, to its rhythmic swishing, a little song from her long-ago childhood, still remembered and happily shared to her young listener in her clear but somewhat trembly voice.
Round and round and you go, jolly windmill sails, grind your corn from night to morn, but not for Ginny Wales.
Ginny Wales, she said, was a pauper who had died of want through fault of a bad harvest and the stinginess of the miller, who refused her a handful of the flour. Her ghost, so said Grandma, was forever doomed to roam the vicinity of the mill, and was wont to appear on stormy nights, wild-eyed and claw-handed, wailing in pitiful supplication. My young self would shrink in delicious terror at this dreadful tale, and even now, so many years gone by, I still cast uneasy looks at the long shadows of flickering moonlight whenever the day grows dark and I come by Drago.
Oh, where are you going this fine spring day? I said to these children as they wandered my way. Then up spoke the boy with the gold in his hair. We're away to the Hough mill, Fayre.
The mill is long gone now, and will never give Ginny Wales the succour she so craved. It ceased its turning and fell into ruin well before Grandma came of age. But in those times when it still plied its trade, she would tell in a low voice, deep with mystery and longing, the paths leading to the mill were ever busy with the coming and going of grain and flour, and hauled by the heavy plod of hoof and boot. Though they were called the paths of north, south, east and west, she would smile and say sadly that people were foolish to have forgotten that these were the spirit ways of the serpent, and by every step and tread, they kept the earth energy strong and flowing, and some few who did have this knowing would sprinkle a little flour or grain at the gates to the hill, and others of a different kind would cross themselves and shudder.
Sing and be merry, sing with great joy, sing for a girl and sing for a boy. Summer is coming and it's winter no more, and we shall have health and wealth in great store.
Drago is not a high hill, as hills around here go, but rather a step to the wide open space they call the moor. But to the long ago people, this was the waste, not a place for rubbish, as you might expect, but ground too poor for the growing of crops, but well suited to summer pasture for cattle and sheep. And long before the coming of the mill, a huge bonfire would be lit on May Eve, and the kine and ewes from all the neighbouring villages would be driven through the smoke and out onto the waste to fatten and breed. A purification ceremony, Grandma would say with the confidence based not on fact, but only her inner self-conviction, and I, a wide-eyed child, one I never thought to question. Warming, as was her wont, to her subject, she would paint such pictures with her words, I would swear that I could hear and see the bellowing and barring and kicking and leaping that would take place when the beasts were released from their winter confinement, for they had spent the winter long in the byres and stockyards, and were longing past weariness for the keen air and sweet grasses of spring, as were the folk also in these out-by places who tended them. Cheerfully, and with that far-away look in her eye, Grandma would explain there would be such a cleaning and a sweeping of old rushes, and the laying of new, and the gathering of the sweet blooms of May to freshen and brighten the dark and smoky cots and halls, and the songs of the children of the north wind would come unbidden to the lips of the goodwives as the blood of the long ago folk wakened and stirred.
And what will you do when you get to the fair? Will you sing? Will you dance? Wear flowers in your hair?
Boughs of Hough, heavy with bud and flower, would be cut, so said Grandma fondly, and paraded door to door, calling all folk, great and small, to wind their way along the spirit paths to Drago Hill, dancing, singing, and skipping to fife and drum, as the dark night clouds rolled away to reveal the golden light of the May Day sunrise. I am not sure how much of this Grandma actually remembered, and what she saw with the long sight. This, she would say casually, was a gift of the Fayre, and one I did not question, for the minds of children are guileless and accepting with a curiosity that has yet to be twisted by logic or reason. Grandma is long gone now, her ashes scattered here on Drago Hill, and it is I now who go by the name of grandmother. This place that she so loved is where I feel the blood of the children of the north wind stir in my bones, and I hear, as she did, the ancestral voices echoing and whispering in the storming gales and skipping breezes. These times I feel my heart quicken, and the hair on my body stiffens and thrills to the roar of the Witch King's malice in the breaking storm, and the chancy magic of the ambivalent Fay, whose intentions are known only to themselves.
Oh no, they replied, we are not here to sport, for we are the children of the fairy court.
Other times I ponder on the nature of what comes and goes, what was and is and shall be. So long abandoned, the mill is one such, and has come back into its own. The tower restored, the great cogs, wheels and chains mended and greased, and the proud spinning sails once more singing in the wind.
We come with a blessing from our mother the queen, who rides by moonlight to dance on the green, and our father the king, who grows from the ground, brings the harvest to plenty and turns the year round.
There is a bench, and I sit here with my back against the sun-warm bricks and wonder what Grandma would make of it all. She would approve, I think. What goes around comes around, and I find myself smiling at the unintentional pun. I sit here on May Eve, and the sun is dipping, spilling the rich golden light, thick as melted butter, over the fields and woodlands so fiercely growing, decked in their green finery. Smudges of white hoar blossom streak the hedges, soft as snowdrift. The four spirit ways snake north, south, east and west, and I know that along each is to be found shy violets, celandines bright as stars, nodding buttercups, periwinkle like the blue of summer skies, dancing ladysmock, and clumps of yellow-eyed forget-me-not. And I know, for I can hear Grandma's whispers, that the young maids of the long-ago folk would gather these and make garlands and nosegays, and put on their best to tease the lusty youths into a joining. Some would later rue, and others be joy. Tomorrow there will be a May Fair, not in the way of the long-ago folk, for they were the children of the north wind, and well understood the need of the corn maiden, the robin boy, and that green man who has become known as barleycorn amongst many others. Instead, there will be more innocent pleasures. Music and dancing around a pole bedecked with ribbons and flowers, food and games and all the other joyous entertainment of a welcome to the summer. This, I think, is how it should be. It is not given to all to hear and feel the voices of the children of the north wind. I think of Grandma, who opened my ears to their tales, and found myself wondering which, if any, of my grandchildren would hear these same ancestral whispers. As if in answer, I see a girl and a boy wandering hand in hand up the west pad, their heads bowed and pressed together as they exchange confidences. One has hair the colour of ripe wheat, and the other golden as the slipping sunset. Their parents meander further behind, and for the first time I wonder if the children of the north winds sing in their bones. Do they have the fine, clean limbs and the deep, far-away eyes of the Fay, or the sinewy frames and the brown thumbs of the earth children of the long-ago folk? Or perhaps the blood of both sleeps in their veins, as I suspect it does with most of us, and awaits its reawakening. My musings are soon interrupted as my grandchildren tumble into my arms as exuberant as puppies. My granddaughter reaches to touch my cheek and says, to my surprise and little shock, I must be very old to have so many lives in my face. She urges me to rise at dawn and wash myself in the May morning dew. She tells me confidently that if I can find a crystal pool, I will see myself made young. I smile and stroke her own smooth cheek and look deep into her eyes, which deepen and darken and glitter with the unfathomable connectedness of the Fayre, and I tell her I already have.
As I was walking one morning in May, I met with two children a-coming my way, and one was a little maid so pretty and fair, and the other a young boy with gold in his hair. Oh, where are you going this fine spring day? I said to these children as they wandered my way. Then up spoke the boy with the gold in his hair. We're away to the Hough mill made fair.